This is a new divine partnership reading for the month of November. Happy birthday to Scorpios. Hope all your birthday wishes come true. This is for the first 2 weeks of November. There will be a new moon in Scorpio. We are in Scorpio season for this reading. And that's the 8th house. The 8th house has to do with regeneration. It's like life, death, rebirth. It's also the house of transformational sex, and it does have to do also with other people's money, inheritances, and things like that, and sharing. And it's about being someone that circulates and shares their resources. So that could be prominent. How are you sharing with one another? And this reading will look at where you're syncing up. And the divine partnership isn't always just between the divine feminine and the divine masculine, but it is between the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and the divine, and also the entire collective of twin flames. I greet you in the love and light of the one infinite creator, Adonai. We communicate now. God, send forth your spirit, and they shall be created, and you shall renew the face of the earth. Okay, so let's see where you've been, what's been going on with the two of you, divine feminine and divine masculine. Lord God, source of eternal life and truth, give to the twin flames the wisdom, guidance, and counsel they need for this up and coming month of November 2024. We still have the second moon in our orbit. There's a new moon in Scorpio. What is their mission for this new moon? Because the new moon is a 6-month time frame from the new moon in Scorpio to the full moon in Scorpio. So let's see what the next level, the next layer of your mission is calling you to do. And let's find out where you've been in sync and what's been happening. Oh my Jesus, you said, ask and we shall receive, seek and we shall find, knock, and the door will be opened to us. Yud He Vav He, Shin Aleph He, He Aleph Aleph. That's order out of chaos and soulmate. May the Lord our God, Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, unite all twin flames. I already see the Ten of Swords on the bottom of the deck, but that was from the last new moon, and now it's on the bottom of the deck, which means it is your distant past. So that is now way behind you. And that was the card that you had at the beginning of October. Wow, this month, now you have the Two of Cups. Wow. So you're coming back together in agreement. There's been some sort of a reconciliation. That's what that reading was all about, the need to reconcile. And for those of you that were able to reconcile your differences, you are entering into a new level of partnership. And there's the caduceus, that's Hermes' staff, that's all about healing through union. The healing takes place when you come together, when you agree to forgive each other, because to forgive each other is divine. It's a virtue. And there's a special blessing upon the relationship. There's a divine protection over it. The red lion, that represents the masculine. Before his magnum opus, the red lion. And the white eagle, though the white eagle turns red and then the red lion turns white during the magnum opus. So divine feminine is really spiraling towards her own individual magnum opus, which is transforming her base nature into a noble nature, a nature of virtue. So the white eagle representing salt is already red here. You see the eagle's wings. But the red lion hasn't turned white. He's sulfur, so salt and sulfur. And so this forgiveness coming from the divine masculine, this apology or this stepping forward or wanting to absolve or resolve your difference is what's going to lead to your magnum opus, divine masculine. Okay, so hopefully by the end of the reading, that lion will be white. We'll see. What crosses you for better or for worse? 5 of Cups. Okay, so regret, tears of contrition. So that's good. See, the 2 cups behind the 5 of Cups is this 2 of Cups. So this 2 of Cups is not just an apology, but it's a sincere apology. There were tears shed. There was regret for words said or actions taken or not said. There was definitely deep sorrow, deep regret, and this apology, this reconciliation was sincere and thoughtful. Okay, so this is where you've been. Maybe over the past, maybe this just happened. This is 5 days. 5 of Cups, 5 days. 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days. 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 days. 5 a.m., 5 p.m., 2 a.m., 2 p.m. And here we have Cancer and Scorpio. You may still be feeling a great deal of regret, divine masculine, but this sorrow is going to lead to your virtue. Because if you don't feel sorry for what you said or did, you can never improve. So this is like the shadow work that you do to get to your magnum opus, to get to that spiritual gold, to turn your base nature into something noble. Wow. And here in your foundation, you have the 6 of Pentacles. So the 6 of Pentacles is all about sharing. And I just told you the 8th house of Scorpio is about sharing. And I see these 2 sharing. They're sharing their feelings with each other because this is Cups. And this is all about emotions and feelings. And that's what they're sharing. You could be sharing a drink, a coffee or a tea or something, but you're definitely sharing your feelings because there was deep regret and sadness here. So sharing that, I'm sorry because I did this or said this, and maybe that's not what I intended, or the reason I did that or said that was because I was stretched beyond my max, or I was maxed out in some way, shape, or form, and I didn't mean to take it out on you, or I displaced all that anger onto you, and I am sorry, and I will try to improve moving forward. There's like this regret. And so the 6 of Pentacles is like bringing things back into balance with the scales. And this may have happened because this sorrow may have happened because someone wouldn't share with the other person. And, sharing, and when it comes to things like social media or homes or family, like they didn't share their family, they're compartmentalizing their life, or they didn't share their social media, or they don't share what's going on in their life with their friends, with you, or they don't share their personal stories, and you're always telling your personal stories, but they never tell you their personal stories. So something was out of balance here with the scales. There was a lack of sharing, and now Scorpio's coming back around saying, don't forget that this whole earthly exile is all about the twin flames being able to come face to face to share with one another. We are all part of God. We were all one, and then we became individuals so that we could share. And this is part of our earthly mission. We're in exile until we come back together. And so this is like the coming back together is like coming home. So where you're at now, at the time that you clicked on this reading, is this 8 of Pentacles. Or this is like the past few past few days or the last couple of weeks, you really started working on the connection. Things are moving now. Uh-oh, you have 2 5s. I believe the divine masculine's still having a struggle. He's really battling with himself. And I'm just because the lion is red and there's 2 5s, it's drama and conflict and the need to bring things into balance, the need to work and improve the relationship and hammer it out and perfect something or repair something here. You know, this is the Masonic apron, and that's all about purifying your spiritual life. It's about being a person of purity, having pure intentions. So he's on his way, divine feminine, but he has a lot of work to do. He's still struggling with it. He's been struggling. It's not easy because it's about probably crushing his pride, and he's holding so tight to his pride. Okay, let's see the recent past. 7 of Cups. Trying to make sense out of everything, needing to lift the veil. There's so much confusion. You know, we're under the law of confusion on the earthly plane. That's the law of confusion, is that your conscious is separated from your subconscious. And it's your responsibility to lift the veil, to know what the subconscious believes or thinks or says. And so in the recent past, there was this need still for both of you to lift that veil, because that's the synchronicity. And the other synchronicity is that you're both willing to work on it together. 8 of Pentacles. But there's still a struggle because you want to bring the whole relationship into balance here with the scales. You want to bring the whole relationship into balance, but I never saw those 2 of Cups this way, with the eagle's wings and the lion's head, because I know in alchemy that the red lion and the white eagle swap colors when they create the magnum opus. And so the fact that one person has attained some level of their magnum opus, I'm not saying like, oh, you've attained the magnum opus and you're going to ascend into heaven, but this is like a level of your character that you've really refined, divine feminine, these eagle wings. And the lion there is saying divine masculine still has some work to do. You know, but even you, divine masculine, you have attained something and she has attained something. You're both wearing laurel wreaths. I mean, you both are on the right path. Just the fact that you're together here, that's the right path. But to bring this connection into balance, it's like he's got to temper his ego, because 5 of Swords is a lack of diplomacy, because this is I win, you lose, at all cost I win. I will step over whoever I have to step over to win. I don't care if I have to cut that person down. It's bad words, it's bad language, it's foul language, it's ruthless and rude and arrogant. But there's a huge regret here. 5 of Cups. But this regret, it could be more self-pity, because this is in the conscious mind, the 5 of Swords. So until this self-pity is truly contrition, the lion won't be white. Let's see. Wow, 10 of Pentacles. You're definitely both putting all your chips in to this connection. So you're putting all your chips in. You're willing to do the necessary work. And to go from the 8 to the 10 of Pentacles, it's a huge progression within a 2-week period from the 8th house of Scorpio to regenerate this relationship, to share your finances, share your family, share your feelings, share Your time, your talent, your treasure, your status, your social media. It's sharing across the board with the Ten of Pentacles, like whole board. The Ten of Pentacles is the entire board. It's the whole shebang. Okay, the 10 is also the house of career. So maybe there was a lack of sharing regarding career. Maybe, divine masculine compartmentalizes his love life from his work life. But that can't work in a relationship, because in a relationship you have to share everything. You have to have all things in common, Jesus says. All things in common. 3 of Wands. Everybody's watching you. There's a lot of eyes on you. It's like everybody's watching your relationship play out like it's a show. It's like a show they look forward to watching. They want the two of you to work. They want you to work it out. They want to see you succeed, because you succeeding tells them they are going to succeed. 3 of Pentacles. So you have 3, 3. That's 33. Master teacher. See, people are watching you because they're learning from you. So when you reconcile and you work on things and you refine your character and you transform your base nature into something more spiritual and more noble, then others are inspired. All this golden light is inspiration from watching the two of you. Watching the two of you work together as a team, cohesion. And not just the two of you, but you and the way you work with others as a unit or as a family. Maybe they're watching you and your whole family. And maybe you're setting the bar for them. Maybe they don't even have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a family, but you're setting the bar for them, the outcome. Wow, the Lovers. So you have the 2 of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles, and the Lovers. See, I told you this 10 of Swords on the bottom of the deck is distant past. And now, in your distant future, you have the Lovers. So this is the angel coming in to bless the connection. This is like Archangel Raphael blessing the connection and telling you that you're meant to be together, like he told Tobias that he was meant to marry Sarah. And even Tobias argued with him. He's like, I'm well aware of her reputation, and there is no way I'm marrying her. And Archangel Raphael said, but she was set apart for you before the world began. And Raphael was very convincing, because the first time Tobias saw Sarah, he fell immediately in love with her, and he followed Archangel Raphael's directions. And Archangel Raphael was disguising himself as a human man, so he didn't even know he was talking to an angel. But Archangel Raphael's power was very influential in their union. Okay, brought them together. Need more room for the cards. Lovers. So you have 2 6s. 2 6s is love, beauty, and harmony. And 6 is the house of romance, children, fun, creativity. So Divine Masculine could have been compartmentalizing his work life and his family life from you. And that's where you need to work things out, Divine Masculine, because that's what's going to lead to your magnum opus, the sharing. The new moon in Scorpio is saying you need to share your family with her, and you need to share your work life with her, or your finances, or your experience at work, something you're not sharing. And it's to your detriment, because she's there to be your helpmate and your support. Maybe you launched into her here with the 5 of Swords because work is stressful, and maybe she's meant to support you through that in some way, shape, or form. But if you're not talking to her about it, she can't help you. And then you're just hurting her. You're displacing all the anger and frustration you have about either your work or your family onto her. And she didn't merit that, but she suffered very quietly and patiently with you. That's why she was able to turn the white eagle red, because she did it through the virtue of patience, silent patience. I'm sure she continued to pray for you. So you have 2 threes, master teacher, other people are watching you, you're teaching them something. When they observe you, they learn. So that's teaching. It's not that you're telling them, they're just observing and they're learning from observing. And then you have 2 fives, which is drama and conflict. But the 2 sixes say that you've agreed to work to bring that into balance, harmony, and love, for the sake of love, because you love each other, 2 of cups. And the work that you're willing to do is to try to lift the veil and figure out, why did I act that way? Why did I say that? Why did I say it that way? Why do I feel the way I feel? Am I stressed out at work? Is my family stressing me out? How can I better deal with them? How can I better cope? Why am I getting into this 5 of Swords energy, which is being arrogant and rude to the one that I love? You have a conscience, which means it's a sign of good mental health, because somebody that doesn't have regret and someone that doesn't feel sorry, that means they have no conscience. That's a mental disorder. That would be putting somebody into the category of antisocial disorder, which is a personality disorder. And one of the characteristics is they don't feel sorry for hurting other people. So he definitely feels sorry. Let's find out what is going to happen for the first 2 weeks of November as this energy moves forward for the 2 of you. Twin Flames, November 2024. Wow, Ace of Cups, look at that. That's so beautiful. So, love is in the air. Things are working out. If you made any promises to work on it, to improve things, it's moving forward. You're getting into that union energy, the 2 cups coming into union. So this is like taking the 2 of cups to a higher level. This is like Holy Communion. This is like the dove of God, the Holy Spirit of God descending and resting upon the relationship. And there is an unending flow of love. This dove has the Eucharist in its mouth, and that's the sweet bread of the angels. It supports the relationship. It sustains it. It nourishes it. 9 of Wands. This is a card of perseverance. So persevering against all odds. So maybe sometimes you do feel like it's against all odds. Maybe it's such an ingrained habit for you to battle things out. Maybe you like drama and conflict. And maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing, but maybe there's a better way to channel that sort of energy. It's like, if somebody likes drama and conflict, maybe they need to take up tennis and just, like bang it out with balls, or, drive balls on the golf course or something, or finding some sort of a channel or an outlet to release that sort of need for those particular chemicals in your brain that drama and conflict releases. 2 of Swords. There is this like guarded energy. So the Ace of Cups, it could be a little fakey. Let me see. Hermit, 2 of Pentacles. I just want to make sure it's not like a honeymoon type energy, like, oh, I'm going to improve, but then it's like I'm becoming somebody I'm not, and that's fake. No, I think it's just tough. I think like whatever you're going, look, there's the red lion. The thing is that Divine Feminine loves her red lion, whether he's in his base nature or his noble nature. I still love him, and I love him, and she has this sort of influence over you, Divine Masculine, that makes you very calm and tempered. So I just think this is a difficult process for him, Divine Feminine, with this Nine of Wands. And I think you're guarded because of it. Like at times, maybe not all the time. I do see you accepting him, and that feels good to him. That's what this Ace of Cups is. That she loves me the way I am. Like she doesn't expect me to change. Nobody's going to change when they get this pressure. Like there's this expectation to change. I think he put the expectation on himself here. And that's what's tough, because when we want to change, I've been reading this book called Imitation of Mary. It's by a Jesuit priest. It's like a really old book, but I read it a long time ago, and it's always just stayed with me, the things that Mother Mary teaches in that book. And it's my go-to. And, I'm sure I'm always speaking about it through my reading. So I just decided to read it to the world because I think it is so important, because I'm seeing something in that book here, which is, when we want to change, when we see something in ourself that we want to change, it's hard. Old habits die hard. It's hard for an old dog to learn new tricks, kind of an energy. But also, it's having our ideal self so far from our actual self, and shining the light on ourself that's difficult. And then actually making and implementing changes, it's a lot of work and it's not easy. But I'm remembering Mother Mary saying, also do take into consideration that, we all came in with certain gifts and talents, and you don't want to lose who you are in the process of this. You have to sort of just surrender it to God. That's what the Strength card is about. It's about allowing the prophets of God or the angels of God to help you, rather than putting restrictions on yourself. See, the Divine Masculine could be putting restrictions on himself, and then that's kind of a red flag for Divine Feminine, and it puts her on guard. And then you have this sort of, I'm going with the flow, because sometimes he's being super restrictive with himself, and then sometimes he's more laid back, and I don't know what I'm going to get from day to day. And so just persevere. You have 2 9s. It's serious. This is serious in nature. It's like a character defect that he's working on, but he decided to do it. He chose to do it, and God is helping him do it. But you are guarding your heart, because until you're his wife, until you're married to him, Ace of Cups, you have to guard your heart, Divine Feminine, because he could hurt your heart in the process of this, because I see him struggling. Sometimes when people are struggling, it's like a Freudian defense mechanism to take it out on other people. And I see there with the red lion, he could take it out on you. That's why you're going with the flow. You're trying to be flexible. It's Wu Wei, which means I flow, I don't force. It's the way of the Tao. If you've never read the book, The Tao of the Pooh, I definitely recommend it. It's like Winnie the Pooh, The Tao of Pooh. And it's a good way to understand Taoism. And that's what Wu Wei is. Going with the flow is Taoism. That's something I learned in my early 20s. And I read that book, and it really shifted my entire perspective of life. And then I hear Alan Watts talking about Wu Wei, and I just see like how important it is for everybody to just go with the flow, because when you don't go with the flow, then you get into this energy of, I just want to give up then. I just want to give up, because it's like you're swimming against a current. Going with the flow is, there's a strong current and all you can do is go with the flow, because if you try to swim against the current, you could drown or die or get swept away, swept out to sea. The star, wow, there's major healing taking place. This is a huge upgrade for divine masculine. And divine feminine, you too will be upgraded by your patience and your flexibility with him, and that you just go with the flow. You don't know what you're going to get with him from day to day, but you accept him where he's at, who he is today, even if he doesn't accept who he is today, because he wants to be who he wants to be tomorrow. He's like, I want to wave a magic wand and be this person I want to be, and it's not that easy. But the star is a huge blessing. And maybe by Aquarius season, he will be that person. Maybe he will. Maybe this character defect really presented itself during Leo season. And now during Scorpio season, he's working it out. And maybe he really was able to shine the light on himself during Virgo. And so everything's going in the right direction here. There's a flow. I see all this water flowing. All this water flowing. He's going in the right direction. 10 of Wands. I think that the most difficult thing for the two of you is that none of your friends are doing this spiritual work at all. Nobody really in your immediate environment is really seeing their part or taking ownership for their part. They're basically just getting everything done, burning the candle at both ends, pushing through. And, oftentimes when you get into that energy of you're just pushing through every day, you don't have time to contemplate and reflect and examine. But divine masculine definitely has with the Hermit. And so that's why they're watching you. They're watching you because they don't know what to do. The 10 of Wands says the people in your environment don't know what to do. They don't. All they know is how to get work done, but they don't take the time to see how they're affecting other people, because they can't see the wood for the trees. They have their head buried in the wands. And all they care about is getting everything done, getting the work done, and not even necessarily making sure that they get it done well or right even, but just that they finish it and they can say it's done and go on to the next thing. 4 of Wands, this is your hope, and 4 of Swords rather, this is your hope and your fear. You just want to be at peace. You just want to attain this sense of inner peace about yourselves, okay? And that's why you do the spiritual work, so that you can achieve inner peace. Even when you're going against all odds, you still have peace. Divine masculine, even though he might get frustrated with himself, he's still at peace because he knows he's doing the right thing. And she's not afraid to put her hand to the lion's mouth because she knows she does the right thing and she knows he won't hurt her. And, at one time you might have thought he would hurt you, but now you have this sort of confidence. I think you put the confidence in God that you're like, I know he's not going to hurt me. Even though he's like this, I know he won't hurt me. And I think that for him is encouraging. But he won't hurt you because you're quiet. See, you don't push his button. See, this requires wisdom. He could hurt you, but you're not instigating. You're not pressing or pushing or forcing. You're wu wei. I flow. I don't force. That's love, true love. There's no fear in love. 1 John, no fear in love. So you have nothing to fear because you love him and because you love God. And because you love God, you're saying God's will be done. Not my will, God's will. I'll just go with the flow. If this is God's will, then it's God's will. And this is about really understanding who you are, both of you. So you guys have really achieved this, or you will, this month of November, knowledge of self, which is prerequisite for activating the magical personality. And the reward and the merit is peace of mind, and really good sleep. You know, people that really work on themselves, their food tastes delicious, like the bread of the angels, and their sleep is sweet. But people out here, they just want to get work done, just get it done, just get it done. Their food doesn't taste good and they don't sleep well. The outcome is, I think I would say that this is fair to say that this is divine masculine turning the red lion white, the King of Cups, because the King of Cups is the expert on love, self-love, and love of other, the love of service, the love of God, wearing the fish as his necklace. It's like Jesus, like I serve, I'm Jesus. I want to emulate Jesus. I want to imitate Christ. I have the high priestess pillars because I have wisdom now of self and of God and the laws of the universe. And I'm not just a master of love, I'm an expert on love, which means I can teach others about love of self and love of other. And yeah, so this is beautiful. This first 2 weeks of November is really about divine masculine shedding a skin, and this like big reveal of this beautiful side of him that was always who he is. This is who he's always been, but it got suppressed. It got covered by a mask or an armor or a tough shell. You know, when you go to do a mikvah, which is a bathing ritual in Judaism, and you can do it anywhere. You can do it in the pool, in the ocean, the tub, like, you know, as a spiritual ritual for yourself. Or, you know, Jesus told, I think, was it the leper to bathe, to dip into the river 7 times. And, you know, I do that when I go to the ocean. Sometimes I dip 7 times, and I'll do it mindfully, thinking of the 7 chakras and doing like a mindful cleanse. But when you do the mikvah, they say you cleanse 400 shells of negativity. If you just think of like barnacles, you know, that he cleansed off. And this is the reveal, this beautiful man, this King of Cups, just radiating love. That's the outcome. And you have these 2 nines. This is serious. This isn't child's play. This is serious. And this 8 strength is the continuation of that 8 of Pentacles. See, the 8 of Pentacles was, I'm gonna get to the drawing board. I'm gonna work things out. I'm at my desk working. But this is really coming into this place of self-discipline. But this is a team effort for divine feminine and divine masculine, because the way the divine feminine, the way you treat him affects this whole process. So if you were to force or push or enable, even like codependency, enable, he wouldn't be able to effectively change, because you could harm the process. But because you're doing the wu wei and you're guarding yourself and you're staying sort of out of it, but in a sense, like out of the inner workings of it, but you're being also very loving, and there is a lot of love here. So this is really beautiful. Okay, and the 10, this is just other people needing to see what you do, really. Because that's the only way they're going to learn. It's like people that like, they don't read books or they don't go to church, but then they'll like, I'm just going to use this as an example because this is what came to my mind first. Like people that don't know anything like about Catholicism, and then they watch that movie, the Da Vinci Code, and then they believe that the Da Vinci Code is the truth. And then now that's their belief. And when that movie came out, I was studying theology at school, and my professor at college and university, and my professor went into this whole lecture about how Da Vinci's artwork, like the movie isn't even correct because the way that I didn't watch the movie, but in the movie they describe the beloved John, the disciple, as being a woman, and that's part of the code or whatever. But Leonardo da Vinci always drew effeminate men that way, and he drew women very different. And that was the beloved John disciple, and that's why he looked more feminine. But anyways, I can't remember what the movie was about, but I'm just channeling that, these kind of people in your environment, they learn by watching and they'll believe what they see. They're swayed by mentative currents. And so if you're creating this new mental current in their environment, you could have a positive effect on them. That's what I see. Okay. Oh, we didn't look at the bottom. So on the bottom, you have if I had the Ten of Swords. Oh, no, that was the other one. Seven of Cups. Wow. That's like the perfect segue. Oh my goodness. So you had the Ten of Swords on the bottom of the deck for the first spread, which was like where you came from the last new moon to this new moon, and you had the Ten of Swords there, and then it was on the bottom of the deck, so it was like in your past. And then the previous spread to this, in this reading, you had the Seven of Cups here in your recent past, and now it's in the distant past. So the need to lift the veil, and that's what the Hermit does. The Hermit lifts the veil. That's what the Hermit does. The Hermit is like, what is my subconscious saying and thinking, and what is it doing? Like what is in my bringing the subconscious to the surface is what Carl Jung calls it. Bringing this up. That's why you do like dream interpretation. It helps you to understand subconsciously what you're thinking, feeling, what's going on. Because the dream life can reveal a lot about your subconscious. Or you can do the alchemy of tarot. What you see in the cards, the need to refine, the need to improve. Honesty. I am in touch with my true feelings regarding this situation. So this union energy comes from sincere honesty with one another, that you honestly tell each other how you feel. And that honesty is what feels like love. Even if your feelings aren't about love, even if your feelings are about sorrow or even anger, the fact that you're honest with your feelings with each other is love. That's what love is. That's what love is. Nine of Wands, optimism. Okay, so this Nine of Wands for Divine Masculine, it might be a struggle at times, but he's so confident and optimistic in his abilities to attain a high state of spirituality. I mean, this is the Blessed Mother being crowned, thrice crowned by Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit. She didn't get this crown because she gave birth to Jesus. Yes, she got it for saying yes to God to give birth to Jesus, but also because of the way she led her life in quietness, in hiddenness, in obscurity, not complaining, not crying out, loving everyone, even the people that crucified Christ, not complaining, being a patient and solid force of love in his life and honoring him, not looking to be honored by anyone, but always even following her own son, knowing that he was her Lord. So, she achieved a high state of perfection, and that's why she's thrice crowned. Divine Masculine, you're going to get there. There's a crown reserved for you. If you run the race faithfully, you will receive the crown of righteousness. And I think that's from the book of James. The book of James. You know, the name James is very important. And let me see. James, this is like really weird that I'm going to tell you this, but it's like James, Randy, Jeremy, and those names have been coming out in my dreams a lot. Okay, Two of Swords, watched over. Yes, Divine Feminine, you know, you are guarding yourself because you don't want to be hurt. You know, you're not fearing, but you're not fearing because you know that you're guarding. And that's smart, because you do need to be prudent. Because if you don't guard yourself, if you don't have guard over yourself, and then you instigate, you could get hurt. But the Blessed Mother is reminding, she's watching over you. She's watching over you. Okay, I allow myself to feel safe and enjoy my life, knowing that heaven is watching over my loved ones and me. So even though maybe Divine Masculine's dangerous, I don't know, this lion could be dangerous. I mean, I wouldn't go around petting a lion. The Hermit, Grace. So a lot of this self-examination and this understanding of who you are, it all comes from reading. Maybe reading, researching. You're learning a lot about yourself through reading, through researching. That's what's going on this month, reading, researching, and learning who you are as a child of God, that you are filled with the same beauty, poise, and divine perfection as all of God's other creatures. Maybe you need to know that about yourself, that you are capable of being a noble nature, of becoming a saint. Becoming a saint. You're on your way to sainthood there, King of Cups. Okay, and you're growing in wisdom. Because there is something like comical and silly about the Two of Pentacles. There is a need to not take yourself so seriously, but while you're doing the serious work, which is like, just give yourself, like, don't expect perfection from yourself, but know that you're on the path of perfection. See, that's the key, to know you're on the path of perfection. Because I've heard people say, non-Catholics, I guess, they talk about how, like, you shouldn't strive for perfection, or I don't know who says it, but I think it's a lot of psychobabble. But I read a book called The Path of Perfection by St. Teresa of Avila, and it changed my life. And we are definitely on the path of perfection, and that's where we're headed. And so, but we can't take ourselves seriously too. So we have to be moldable, and surrendered to God, because God is the one that perfects us. Jesus is the author and perfecter of our faith, Hebrews 12. And so I think it's 12. I hope it is. But yeah, and he will make us perfect. Signs, that's what the process of sanctification is. That's why you get confirmed, so you can start being sanctified through Holy Communion here. And the more you commune with God, the more perfect you become. You become a person of grace and poise, it says, and beauty. Signs. I watch for, notice, and trust the signs that heaven continually sends me. But I think this is really signs about that you don't take things so seriously. Have fun. Enjoy the journey. Laugh. And go with the flow. And let's see where the wave is going to take you. Just ride the wave and see where it's going to take you, because that's fun. It's fun to see where the wave is going to take you. It's fun to ride the wave. And it'll take you somewhere, and that'll be a sign. That will be the sign. But if you don't go with the flow and you don't ride the wave and you try to, go against the current and wear yourself out, and then you don't get the sign. Strength, love. All this strength and self-discipline and self-control with the divine masculine comes from a place of love. Love is the answer to all the questions. To know that, to share his life with you and his family and his work life and all that comes from a place of love, and that you want to share that with him. It comes from a place of love, and that you love him even as the red lion. It's all love. See, it's true love. It's true love here. True and genuine love. Love is the answer. Oh yeah, and I'm getting the name Daniel because there was a viewer named Daniel, which reminds me always of the prophet Daniel from the Old Testament, who was an interpreter of dreams. He could explain enigmas and solve difficulties, and he survived the lion's den. So he liked the new moon reading for the divine partnership. So I rewatched it, and because I started to watch it, I decided to record this. So Daniel is an important name. Daniel is an important because he's very optimistic about he and his divine feminine working things out. And I think that that's an important message for you. Okay, here we have the inner child. So the star, that's Aquarius season, like really getting to that place you're striving for. It does have a lot to do for divine masculine with inner child work, because that need to be the Five of Swords energy came from childhood. Maybe he was bullied and he had to defend himself. And to the fighting point. And so, or maybe he was a soldier and he went to war, and it's just to transition, to click back over to like regular life could be difficult depending on how many like tours they did or something, or any kind of work where it's just like a hostile environment. I don't know, but something here, maybe when he was adolescent, something was very hostile, and that's being healed. The star is a card of healing. It's being healed. It's like restoration of his purity, his innocence, the person he was before he was exposed to such hostility. King of Cups, as who the King of Cups is. Maybe some of that hostile environment is still there because these people, they're just so not aware of who they are. They're just like machines. They're just like machines on the treadmill, on the hamster wheel. No spiritual life. It's called spiritual sloth. It's a deadly sin, actually. So they're in a state of mortal sin. Faith. I have faith in God to heal this situation. They are impressionable, though, like I told you. Like if they were to watch the Da Vinci Code, they'd believe it, right? But if they were to watch you, divine feminine and divine masculine, they would believe it. They would believe it. So you are important. You are important. For people that aren't taking the time to do the spiritual work, what you do impacts them. For the better or for the worse, but what you're doing here is definitely going to have a positive impact on some people that are really carrying heavy burdens. Jesus's yoke is easy and his burden is light, but the way they're doing things, it's a heavy burden, and they're doing it all wrong. They're doing it all wrong, and they are. You're watching them. You're like, I know exactly why they're doing that, because they're trying to prove something to that person. So they're taking on that responsibility that's not necessarily their responsibility, because they're getting back into that codependent behavior again. And then they're using it to elevate themselves because they're saying, oh, I'm doing this to help that person. And it's like, it's a vicious cycle, and you're watching them just do this vicious cycle thing. It's like unbearable to watch, and all you can do is just take care of yourself. But in you taking care of yourself and your twin flame taking care of themselves, and the two of you like showing these people something, they will learn from you faith. Just by observing how to have faith, how to, when the burden is too heavy for them to carry anymore, to finally get down on their knees and say, help me, Jesus, help me, Jesus. Trust, I know that God in his infinite wisdom and love is answering my prayers right now. Yeah, all the prayers you say for each other are being answered. They're being answered. And the main prayer is that you're under the protection of Mary's blue mantle, and that all this spiritual work, the merit behind it is peace of mind. People can't buy peace of mind, and they try to get it from a pill, but peace of mind only comes from one place, Christ. And so you got the peace of mind this month, peace of mind under the mantle of Mary and divine masculine, tapping back into the essence of who he was before he got into a hostile environment. Integrity. Coming into a place of integrity. I trust my ability to know what is true for me. Wow. It's like the infant of Prague, the child Jesus, and knowing that he was always precious, and that whatever hostility happened to him, whether it was like when he was an adolescent or it's inner child. I'm sorry. It must have happened when you were young. I'm sorry, because nothing bad should happen to children. But that's still a part of who you are, who you were before all of that happened. And that's going to shine through your manhood, and it's going to make you so beautiful. So beautiful. You're going to glow like Jesus. And you should just think of yourself as being a child, Mary's child, and Mary is going to love you, even though you're a man doing manly things. Each day, you're still going to be in the arms of Mary as a child, and she's going to love that child that went through that tough time, and she's going to love you every day and replace all of that. Basically what she's going to do is edit out that whole time frame, and she's going to insert herself in there, and she's going to take care of you. And that's going to change everything. That's going to be a game changer. It's like a DNA upgrade. It's like 12-strand DNA activation. Okay, here you have the lady. That's divine feminine. Could be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Ace of Spades. A very athletic divine feminine, or a divine feminine that's a grandmother or 50s, 60s. Also, she's strong, she's brawny, she's bold. She has a good financial position. She's good with her resources and her money. Also, this means that this is a good money month for you. Here I see maybe you and your grandmother. Your grandmother might be praying for you and your twin flame, actually. Divine feminine, your grandmother is praying for you and your twin flame and your children, and taking care of your body and being wise with your money, like having restraint and prosperity, and being wise and sharing with your children. All of these things are bringing a blessing into your life from your grandmother or a grandmother. A grandmother may be blessing you this month. (13) Also, a child might be having like their bar mitzvah, 13, or they're going through they're reaching some sort of a milestone. Also, there's new money coming in for divine feminine. New money. Two new money opportunities. They're pretty big because the bear is like savings. It's savings account. So 2 new savings things. Maybe it's like IRA, Roth, or something like that. And in your love life, Yes, I told you, Divine Feminine, there's no fear in love. You're not afraid of him because you know his heart. She has her hand on his heart. And you know you have this way of calming him, but like helping him connect to his heart. Maybe it's like Reiki, like touching his heart helps him connect to his heart. You know, I'm a massage therapist, and when I renew my CEUs, I give the nuns massages because that's a form of charity. And then it's not really charity though when I do it, because I do it to write off my CEUs. But I like doing it because I love to be able to, for them to get, it is a form of charity because I'm giving it to them. But they're giving me something in return, which is I'm getting my CEUs. But it's interesting because, you know, they don't normally get massage. They all wear habits. They're very holy. And when I massage them, you know, they're very like, very demure and shy. But it's weird because they all say the same thing and they always say it with a surprise and they always say it. It's like weird. It's like they always say the same thing and they always say it. It's like they have this realization during the massage where they're like, my mind is connected to my body. And I'm like, yeah, your mind is connected to your body. That's right. She's like, it's connected. And I'm like, yeah, they all say that too. It's like really cool. But like, I'm just getting that, like, you know, touching his heart to help him to see that his heart is connected to his mind. It's connected to his body and it's connected to you. The looking in the eyes and the touching of the heart, you know, like just touching his heart. Like, I think like that's like a really good spiritual practice, like to sit like in, lotus pose facing each other and touching each other's hearts, and connecting, staring at each other. That's my style. I like to just touch and stare. Okay, palm tree, stability, security, permanence, growth, endurance, and flexibility. This is a really good sign for those of us that are in the hurricane season still. We're going to get through this hurricane season. We are strong. We sway with the wind. We don't break the palm tree, so everything's going to be fine. We're going to get through it. And but you're going to get through this storm, you know, and now you're coming out the other side. It's going to feel like paradise this month. Because it's going to feel like more stable. There's permanence. It feels like things are growing and we're going to make it through whatever we've been through. And we're going to put this whole thing behind us and we're going to get to another level together. Camera, you're going to be making memories and taking pictures this month as well. And keepsakes, maybe even, you know, scrapbooking and everything too, like saving up all your little things from all the activities you do together and putting them all in a scrapbook with some photos that you actually print out. And yeah, you know, maybe even you are going on vacation here to a tropical climate, camera and palm tree. And you're going to make new memories together. And maybe even your children are going to go with you, and even your grandmother. Or maybe you go on a vacation to meet your grandmother. Maybe you bring your twin with you. Or you go to his grandmother. Or his mother even. Maybe if one of you has parents that have small children. You know, sometimes your parents can remarry someone really young and have another child. So maybe somebody out there is like, that's a situation, but I do see like families coming together and there's a lot of love and yeah. And there's a lot of friends watching you, and these friends might not even just be friends. This 10 of Wands, this could be family members and coworkers, even employees and employers. I leave you in the love and light to one infinite creator, Adonai. Go forth, therefore rejoicing in their power and their might and their miracles in your life. Amen. And I'll see you again before Thanksgiving. So the next reading we'll talk about that first holiday of the